Good evening. I'm Rebecca Highbottom, and this is the Red Lipstick Republic Fake News, where we do our best to bring you all the fake news, conspiracy theories, and rumors we can scavenge. Basically, we are your geopolitical soap opera reporters. We take utmost care in following the most reputable sources, such as Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, and let's not forget YouTube, where we meet. Fact-checking is not necessary, as this broadcast only reports uncertified fake news. We are here for your entertainment, not to actually make you smarter. Who would want that, right? Should you be inclined to come visit us again, please show us your support by clicking the like and subscribe button. As you very well know, you vote through your clicks, so please click on us. And without further ado, let's get to our broadcast. Let's talk revolutions, but not the kind that pops in your head right away, especially in today's volatile environment. When one hears revolution today, one thinks of burning shops, Molotov cocktails, being thrown at police cruisers, and let's not forget the latest act, the storming of the Capitol on DC. All these revolutionary acts have one thing that is consistent and true. They are acts of defiance, and they are a response to disapproval of someone or something by the general public that manifests itself through protests or worse, riots and violence. Revolutions can also very often, but not always, significantly shift or change, or maybe it's a better way to describe it as disrupt the status quo or the standard or the norm of the day. The revolution that we will explore in today's broadcast is called the Fourth Industrial Revolution. This is not your typical revolution, not like the revolutions we know of, and certainly not like the three revolutions that preceded it. Before we do get into the Fourth Industrial Revolution, let's take some time to review the three that came before it. The very first Industrial Revolution began around 1760. The innovation of the steam engine allowed for the evolution of the agriculture and textile to grow, as it allowed for the transportation of goods to a wider community. This also propelled the start of the migration of farmers into the cities. This shift from a farming-oriented economy to a factory and production-oriented economy began its reign. As history would later showcase, factory life for the average farmer was grim and difficult. During that time, laborers were very plentiful and cheap. Child labor was not an issue. In fact, it was more in line with an unwritten standard or policy of the era's employment. We want to humbly point out, since we are at this juncture, this first industrial revolution did not happen without great suffering and much hardship on one class in particular, the working class, aka the middle class, you and me, ladies and gentlemen. Let's keep that in mind and in the back of our head as we move on. The second industrial revolution, however, came into vision when the combustion engine was invented. Electricity was harnessed, and oil and all of its applications were just being discovered. The start of this revolution began around 1870 and lasted until the early 1900s. There was also an important commodity demand that rose during this particular period, the demand of steel. It is also worth mentioning that chemical synthesis and methods of communication, such as the telegraph and later the phone, were born into society. This would prove to be the start of a very shrinking world which we live in today. This revolution is considered as the most important one for our human history, thus far at least. The third revolution began around 1969. We, as a race, discovered, or rather uncovered, nuclear energy. Coupled this with electronics, telecommunication, and let's not forget computers. With computers came space exploration, higher research capability, and of course, biotechnology. The final piece of technology the third revolution boasts was the internet, the web, the magic place where you and me meet. All of these things, these new and improved technologies, seemed like they were, well worth the struggle. But is that actually clear? It is hard to argue that life today isn't easier with all of these handy gadgets and, of course, more convenience. That would simply be untrue and, moreover, difficult to argue. But the question is, will the fourth revolution bear the same kind of fruit in the long run as the first three? What do we mean? Well, let's dive into it. If you look at some of our current technologies in our society, for instance, social media or the cell phone, are we really truly happier or better off with these technologies as a whole? It could be argued, and with great success, that these technologies in fact are decreasing our overall happiness as in the human experience, almost robbing us of moments with people that we love. And if the current narrative is hyping up this amazing, exciting new technology revolution and how it will better the entire human society is true through and through, isn't it our responsibility to, at the very least, look at its merit and look at the plan as a whole that is set out for all of us? More importantly, shouldn't we first perfect what's not right and balanced in our current situation in society before moving on to the next great thing? That's just a suggestion. All we are saying here is that we should at least think about it. The fourth revolution is coming, and by all accounts, it is coming soon. Some experts even go as far as saying that we are already entered in the fourth industrial revolution right now as we speak. The World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, boasts, the arrival of the fourth revolution will be a distinct one, I bet it will be, in both velocity, space, and system impacts. He also includes in saying that the speed in which the breakthroughs will happen have no historical precedents to compare with in our human history. That makes a person pause and question what he means. He continues by saying the breadth and depth of these changes herald the transformation of entire systems of production, management, and governance. Please notice the word governance, not government, a very distinct difference. In this revolution, there will be technological breakthroughs in areas such as AI, robotics, the Internet of Things, self-driving cars, 3D printing, nanotechnology, biotechnology, material science, energy storage, and finally, quantum computing. Wow, that all sounds quite remarkable and exciting, but yes, I'm afraid there is a but. If you're familiar with the saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Maybe you should look that saying up. Klaus points out a delightfully positive look at how wonderful the next new chapter is going to be. I'm a pessimist. Well, not really. Actually, I'm a realist who tries to stay contrarian. But in today's world, that is also synonymous with pessimist, so we're just going to make it short. I digress. Again. In digging for more information, we found these gems of articles by Anton Mueller. Written in November of 2020, he showcases another and very different perspective, and one that perhaps is much less persuasively rosy. This article is ruthlessly honest and refreshingly bold in the overview of the revolution that will most certainly be upon us in the upcoming future. These are all very important problems we must look at while we are still permitted, or more sinister, while we are still us, if you know what I mean. You know, ourselves, not upgraded or altered. This article that I have, let's give it a little read. Bear with me. The article's title is "The Dystopian Fourth Industrial Revolution Will Be Very Different from the First Ones." He starts off by saying, if one takes the publication of the World Economic Forum as an indication of how the Fourth Industrial Revolution will change society, the world is facing a massive onslaught against individuality, liberty, and private property. A new kind of collectivism is about to emerge. Like the communists of the past, the new project appeals to the public with the assurance of technological advancements and social inclusion. Additionally, ecological sustainability and the promise of longevity or even immortality are used to entice, notice the word, entice, lure basically, the public. In reality, however, these promises are deeply dystopian. He goes on to, the Fourth Industrial Revolution provides the potential to roboticize, however you say that, humanity, and thus compromise our traditional source of meaning, work, community, family, identity. Schwab predicts that the Fourth Industrial Revolution will lift humanity into a new collective and moral consciousness. Again, I digress, but a small side note that I feel must be brought up. If anyone has ever watched Star Trek, if you haven't, I understand that maybe there's no appeal for you. However, I encourage you to go onto the Star Trek series and find out what one race likes about collectivism. They are the Borg. They are collective. And guess what? They are portrayed as the enemy. I'm just saying. Back to the article. Transhumanism is a part of transhumanism is a part of the transformation that comes with the Fourth Industrial Revolution. As artificial intelligence, AI will surpass even the best human performance at specific tasks. He goes on. Microsoft and the other high-tech companies are betting on the convergence of several important technology shifts: mixed reality, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing, all of which they want to be involved with. Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Facebook, and IBM will cooperate in an AI partnership that will work to develop and test the technology in fields such as automobiles, healthcare. Healthcare right now is a big thing. I'm just putting it out there. Where was I? Healthcare. Oh yes, healthcare. Human AI collaboration, economic displacements, and how AI can be used for social good. In the preface of his latest book, Klaus Schwab predicts that the Fourth Industrial Revolution will upend the existing way of sensing, calculating, organizing, acting, and delivering. He states that the negative externalities of the present global economy harm the natural environment and vulnerable populations. The changes that come with this new technology will be comprehensive and will topple the way we produce and transport goods and services. The revolution will upset how we communicate, the way we collaborate, and the way we experience the world around us. The change will be so profound that the advances in neurotechnologies and biotechnologies are forcing us to question what it means to be human. I don't think that going into the first three industrial revolutions, we were worried about questioning our humanity. Rather, we were questioning how the technologies will enhance and further bring our humanity forward. So these are very different questions we have in this industrial revolution, or in this revolution, sorry. Like Satya Nadella's forward, this is another author that also is on this fourth revolution bandwagon, Schwab's text reiterates several times the claim that the evolution of the fourth industrial revolution is entirely within our power. When we use the window of opportunity and drive for empowerment, the we that both authors speak of is the global technocrats elite that call for central control and state interventionism called shaping the future. In a new system that is characterized by intimate cooperation between business and government, or more specifically between high tech and a handful of key states. Now that's alarming. For those hard of thinking, that's very alarming. The World Economic Forum's webpage about the Great Reset proclaims that the Ronavid crisis presents a unique window of opportunity to shape the recovery. At the present historic crossroads, the world leaders must address the inconsistencies and inadequacies and contradictions ranging from healthcare and education to finance and energy. The forum defines sustainable development as central aim of the global management activities. He goes on, and this part is very important, ladies and gentlemen. The alternatives. The rise of living standards together with the growth of the world population became possible because of the industrial revolutions preceding us. Those who want to bring down capitalist society in the economy must necessarily opt for declining living standards and depopulation. I will read that just for the hard of hearing, just so you hear exactly what is being said here. Those who want to bring down capitalist societies and the economy must necessarily opt out of declining living standards and depopulations. Those are not negotiable. Those are absolutes. The promoters of the plans to bring about New World Order with the force of the state negate that radical capitalism could much better provide the means to move a better world, as has been the case since the inception of the first industrial revolution. Very important. What brought about the Industrial Revolution in the past was free markets and individual choice. That is absolute. The ideology of the World Economic Forum is that of the pre-industrial era. I'll read that again. The ideology of the World Economic Forum is that of the pre-industrial era, while the website of the WEF teams with terms like power, organization, and managed sustainable development. Concepts like freedom, market coordination, and individual choice are blatantly absent. The forum hides the fact that instead of human progress, impoverishment and suppression of the future of humankind, and the implicit consequence of the planned ecological economy is the drastic reduction of the world population. With the abolishment of markets and the suppression of individual choice, which the collectivist plan of the WEF push, a new dark age would come, different from that of what the planners presume. Technological progress itself would come to a standstill without the human creativity that springs from the mindsets of individualism. Not economic progress has been possible. Conclusion. The new technologies that come from the fourth industrial revolution can be of immense benefit to humankind. The technologies per se are not the problem, but how they are used. A dystopian future awaits us if the global elites of the World Economic Forum have its say. The result would be of a technocratic terror regime masked as a benevolent world government. Yet, there is an alternative. As widely proven over the past 200 years, free markets and individual choice are the source of technological advancements, human progress, and economic prosperity. There are no rational reason to presume that the fourth industrial revolution would require collectivism. Free markets are the best way to cope with the challenges that come with the new technologies. Not less, but more capitalism is the answer. This article could be found, and it's by Anthony Mueller, and it's called "The Dystopian Fourth Industrial Revolution will be very different from the first one." What do you think about all these new technologies arising and looking to get implemented and used on us, the public? We would love to know. The more people that get interested, the better chance we all have on perhaps having a say, at the very least, in how this gets rolled out. If we all just bury our heads in the sand, it will surely roll over us as the plan plows forward. To be perfectly clear, we are not saying technology is all bad. Simply that we should all have a vote in how it will be implemented into our society at large. We are hoping you will join us in this very important discourse. That's all we ever want here at the Red Lipstick Republic. Open and free discourse. That wraps up our show for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you have enjoyed your time with us. We wish you a splendid remainder of the day. And remember, if you read the news, you are misinformed. And if you don't, you are uninformed. Chew on that for a bit, and we'll see you in the next broadcast. Good night.